Hello, Dr. Ibrahim. My name is Livon, and together with my group members, Daryl and Jonathan, we'll be guiding you through our project presentation today. Our project focuses on developing a VBA macro to automate the process of clustering and summarizing student performance data. Summarizing student performance data is traditionally a manual process where administrators have to scroll through large data sets, visually searching for trends and grouping students based on their performance. This can be very time consuming and prone to human errors. So, in this project, we utilize Virtual Basic for Applications VBA in Microsoft Excel to automate the data arrangement process. The goal is to improve both efficiency and accuracy in summarizing student performance data. By automating this process, we achieve the three main benefits. The first one is time save. This is to reduce the time spent on the manual data processing. Second is fewer errors to minimize the changes of human errors in data arrangement. The third one is be more efficiency reporting. This is to streamline the generation of reports and visualization for better decision making. In this project, the dataset provided had over 350 student performance records, and administrators manually reviewing a large dataset to identify the performance trends, which increases the risk of missing key insights. This manual approach is time consuming and prone to human errors. The main challenges are that administrators may overlook important data points, which leading to inaccurate analysis. This ultimately delay feedback to students and reduce the quality of the data. Hence, the impact of this is that the data review process become inefficient, which causing a slower responses and less reliable feedback for students, which can affect their overall learning experience. Our project has three main objectives. First is automate the clustering. The system will automatically group students based on their GPA, CGPA, and academic status, which allowing for real-time analysis without manual sorting. The second objective will be the faster processing. By automating the data analysis, we save significant time and resources. This enables the administrators to handle large dataset more efficiently and gain quick insight. The third objective will be automate the chart creation. The system will automatically generate charts to visualize student performance trends and making it easier for administrators to interpret and summarize the result. Next, I will pass the presentation to Jonathan.
Hi, my name is Jonathan and I'll walk you through the current ASIS process. First of all, the process begins with users opening the Excel file that contains the raw data. This is then followed by users manually screening the data, visually going through the information to understand its content. Next, users will then manually categorize students into different groups based on their observations from the raw data. After that, summaries and outputs are manually written down on a paper, which adds another layer of manual effort to the process. Lastly, the written summaries and outputs will undergo a review to conclude the process. While it gets the job done, this process has several limitations that needs to be improved. First of all, it is extremely time consuming as every step relies on manual work. Secondly, this process is highly prone to human error, especially during tasks like eyeball screening and categorization, which requires a high level of attention to detail. Lastly, this method is inefficient and not scalable. As the amount of data grows, the process becomes increasingly more difficult to manage as the reliance on manual intervention will lead to delays and an increased chance in errors. To improve the assist process, this is our proposed solution which transforms the existing manual workflow into a streamlined and semi-automated system. This to-be process leverages Visual Basic application in Excel to improve efficiency, reduce errors, and make the entire process more scalable and effective. Just like the assist process, the first step involves opening the Excel file. Moving on, users can now click a VBA button to convert the raw data into structured table format. This step automates the initial data preparation, saving time and eliminating the need for eyeballing the data. Once the data is transformed into a table format, we can click the VBA button to apply text wrapping and other necessary formatting to enhance the readability of the data. Once the data is formatted, it is ready for further processing using more VBA functions. The first step in this stage is clustering the data based on GPA and CGPA or student status. These automated clustering processes help organize the data into meaningful categories, ensuring consistency and accuracy. After clustering, the system generates charts for each category, providing users with a clear and actionable insight into the data without the need for manual interpretation. In addition to visualizations, the process identifies students eligible for awards based on predefined criteria, as well as those who may require additional academic actions. For students requiring attention, the system suggests specific follow-up actions, ensuring no student is overlooked. Finally, once all actions are completed, users can proceed to reviewing the outputs to conclude the process or can reset the data to its original state with a single click, allowing the process to be reused for other datasets. This proposed solution drastically improves the ASIS process by reducing manual effort, eliminating errors, and introducing scalability. Now I'll pass it to Daryl. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Daryl. So now I'll give you a run through on how our results will be. So first of all, we have designed a main menu design on the raw data sheet, which is the original data that we were given. Why are we doing this main menu? Is so that users can have a more organized view, as well as the sheet could have a more organized interface with all the functionalities inside it. So as you can see here, the menu includes buttons such as input raw data into data table, GPA, CGPA clustering, status clustering, additional attention, as well as data reset. So why did we do this main menu design is to have a more organized view. How do we do it? Is by grouping buttons based on their purpose. So you can see each buttons are in their respective boxes. Besides that, we also color code each boxes for clarity. So like this, they can identify which function very quickly because it's very color coded. Last but not least, we also have arrows showing the recommended workflow. So in our case, it will be to input raw data, the function buttons, last but not least to data reset. I believe Jonathan has said so. So first of all, I'll show you the functions of raw data imported into the data table. So if you can see in the box of import raw data into data table, there are two buttons, one being data table, the second one being text spacing and wrapping. So what each of these button do? So if you look to the left image, that's what comes up when you press data table. Compared to the original data, our data is currently now organized into each specific columns organizedly. So for example, student number would be in one column, status would be in one column, their GPA, their CGPA, all would be one in one respective columns. So that will be the function of data table to have it to look more organized as well as we are able to run our VBA coding even smoother. So beside it will be the text spacing and wrapping button. What this text spacing and wrapping button gives us is a clearer view on the data tables variables. So for example, you see in the left, comparing it to the left image, the good standing word in column F is clashed with the additional recommendation on column G. So by pressing this text spacing and wrapping button, each of the data will have sufficient space to show their respective data. Moving on will be the results for GPA and CGPA clustering. So once again, if you look into the box of CGPA and GPA clustering, there are two buttons. First button being GPA and CGPA clustering. So what results do we get by clicking this button? First, we'll get two different sheets, one being clustered GPA sheet and the second one being summary sheet. So what is in these two sheets? The first sheet where the clustered GPA would be is where you can see on the left top there where each student's GPA and CGPA is recorded. Then we have set a threshold in VBA to classify each CGPA and GPA as good, average, and bad. So if you look below it, it will be what that is showing in the summary tab, where it will show how many students are in the good category, how many students are in the average category, as well as how many students are in the bad category. So the second button, visualization charts generator. So what this button do to better visualize the grades of students, in this case their GPA and their CGPA, as we have already classified it by good, average, and bad, we can better visualize these classifications by creating visualizations. So in our case, we created three different visualizations. First of it being the student count by category bar chart. Second one is the pie chart for number of students by GPA, and the second one is the number of students by CGPA. Next, we will have the status clustering results. So once again, like before, there will be two buttons in the status clustering section, one of it being student status, the second one being visualization charts generator. So what does this student status button do? As we can see from the raw data, some students have completed below their data, then some don't have completed, while others having like specific reasons for their status. So once we click into this student status button, a sheet named student status will be created, and there we will have a clearer view on how many students have completed, how many students have not completed, as well as how many students have other factors. So once again, the second button is visualization charts generator, where we can better visualize the amount of students that have completed, not completed, as well as having other factors. Moving on, we have the additional attention result. So why is this part called additional attention? Is because not all students have similar outputs like this. So for example, the first button is Dean List Award. So once you press this Dean List Award, a sheet will be created and will list every single student number that are qualified for the potential Dean's List Award. And then the second button for recommendation for students, some students they have recommendation. For example, some of it having to receipt finance, some of it having to receipt management. So by clicking the button of recommendation for students, it would uh, organize it very neatly and say that which student number have what recommendations. For example, student 298 have to receipt finance and so on and so forth. Last but not least, we have the reset sheets. So what result can we get from these reset sheets? As you can see in the data reset box, there is a reset sheets button. So what will happen when you click this reset sheets button? So as I say about the results from the start until this point, it will all create a sheet where it will give you a clearer view on what each sheet would like you to understand. However, once the administrators have gotten all the information that they needed, the large amount of sheets might look too cluttered for them. So with a button, by clicking the reset sheets button, it will reset all the sheets and only leave the raw data sheet where the main menu is at. So this gives a more organized view, a neater view, and it wouldn't look too cluttered.
Thank you, Daryl. So, in conclusion, VBA boosts efficiency, reduce errors, and allow administrators to focus on key tasks. By speeding up data management, VBA minimizes errors in clustering, visualization, and reporting. It also frees up administrators from labor-intensive data handling, which enabling them to focus on critical decision-making tasks. Overall, VBA proves to be a valuable tool for enhancing administrative efficiency and data management. That's all from our group. Thank you.